Hello there. It's time for Most Things Kenobi.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Most Things Kenobi, a podcast about Obi-Wan Kenobi and all things Star Wars. I'm your host, Leanne.
And I'm your host, Lauren.
And oh my god, it's finally happening! We have made it! We're here!
It's time.
Kenobi is here! I'm already too loud for this podcast, sorry. Rest in peace, everyone with earphones in, earbuds.
Yeah, prepare to have your eardrums blown out, because we are going to freak the fuck out. It's time.
It's time, I can't help it. This is the place, this is the time, we've made it. We're here. Kenobi is here, and I, for one, am blown away just by the first 2 episodes alone.
Yes. Oh my god. Well, first let me say I am sick. So pardon my terrible sounding voice. I'm pretty sick. Got sick at Celebration. Totally worth it.
Yes, that's the souvenir you didn't ask for, but here it is.
When I expected, but didn't want, but yeah. Yeah, so also I'm in a hotel room, so there are noises in here I can't control. So please excuse any strange sounds. I'm quarantining.
Well, we have a lot to talk about, but first, happy anniversary to us.
Yes.
Happy 1-year anniversary to Most Things Kenobi, which this is our 53rd episode. We released our first episode last year in June, the first week of June, and how fitting that our anniversary episode is our reaction to the first 2 episodes of the Kenobi TV series. It's awesome.
It's so appropriate.
And you just came back from Celebration. I mean, it's like Star Wars. It's just a cornucopia of Star Wars.
It is, and we were super lucky because we got into the very first panel, which is like the big intro to Star Wars, and of course Ewan McGregor was there, and all the Kenobi people were there. And they invited everyone to come back that night to watch the show as a group before it premiered on Disney+. So we got to see it before anyone else. And to see it in an audience was really special. It was really a special experience. I feel very grateful to have gotten to do that.
And when you texted me, I was hurting. The jealousy was real.
I know. That's why I didn't text you too much, because I didn't want to just hurt your feelings, honestly.
Oh, no, it's fine. You were there. I got to see everybody that you've met, a lot of listeners, a lot of fans, a lot of friends that we've made through the show. And I think that's amazing. Yeah. So I was sad because I wasn't there and to be a part of it. But like, it was amazing to live it through you. And the fact that you got to see the first 2 episodes in a group, like a theater mode, basically, right?
Yeah, and it was all throughout. It was like all the main stages. So the whole building was full of people watching the first couple episodes.
That's so cool.
It was really fun. It was special. And like the cast and crew were there too. It was their first viewing of it. So yeah, it was very special, and I'll never forget that, honestly. It was, I'm grateful. I'm sick as hell, but I'm grateful.
Well, we've got 2 episodes to cover. Let's do it.
Let's jump in. Where do we start? Jeez.
I don't know. I'm overwhelmed. There's a lot to cover, but goddamn was it good.
Well, I have three like general notes about everything that don't apply to like chronological order. Just one, Ewan's performance is amazing.
Fantastic. I cannot agree more strongly. He's perfect. He hasn't skipped a beat in the X amount of years since he was in this role before.
And he's even better because he's like the prequels were all overacted, and not even necessarily the character's fault. That was their direction from George Lucas. You know, it was overperformed. It was melodramatic, which is part of its, appeal to some people. This was very understated. It was like very crafted. It was still Obi-Wan. Like he had the voice and the humor and all of that, but it was
the humor.
The humor was great. But then
I loved it.
It was just like he hit those beats while like giving so much more with just his eyes, or like the way his mouth would turn down. It was like, oh, it was so good.
Yeah, it's exactly what we were hoping for.
Yeah.
And it delivered. And I was so pleased because I forgot it was Ewan McGregor, and I only focused on the fact that it was Obi-Wan. And not only that, but like I got a little bit of Alec Guinness in it.
Yeah.
Like his voice is softer. It's more towards like older Obi-Wan than it is young, brash, not so sure of himself. I mean, the pain in his eyes and his face and his voice and a lot of this, the struggle that we were hoping for was already shining through in the fact that he's holding back, right? Yeah. And the fact that Ewan already like basically conveys this so subtly. Mm-hmm. It's Ewan's acting, honestly.
It is. But also the writing. The writing is really good.
Yes. It's not overdone. There's not too many jokes. There's not too many. It's tasteful.
It is.
And it's getting the story across the way it needs to.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of my other notes, was that the writing is excellent. Like so much better than the prequels.
Oh, and so much better than, I'll go ahead and say it, so much better than some of the other Disney Plus Star Wars shows.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
At times. At times they're excellent. At times they're not. Yeah. So far, 2 episodes in, excellent.
Yeah, and like cinematic.
This was movie. I said to you on text message, this was movie quality shit. They went ahead and took the budget and did it right.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
It makes some of like Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett look like trash by comparison.
Some of the Book of Boba Fett looks terrible compared to this show.
Yeah, and not that those shows look bad, but when you compare it to, you could tell this show had a bigger budget for special effects and for like set decorating and costume design and stunt coordination. Even though there were big stunts in the other one, you could tell that this had more of a budget, and it shows. Like, it really does show, especially if you have like a trained eye for it. It shows. Not shit talking those shows at all. Those
no. It's just
great
comparing.
But yeah, in comparison, you could tell this is where they wanted to put their money.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it.
We are thankful for it. Yeah. We were hoping. I mean, the trailer is all we got up until this point. The 2 trailers, I guess. And we kind of had a feeling, and our feeling wasn't wrong. Yeah. At least from what we've seen so far. We're talking episodes 1 and 2 here.
Right. We'll have to see what happens, but I have good feeling about this.
Oh, I have great feelings. The end of that second episode, I screamed. It was the perfect way to introduce Vader. It was perfect. And it was perfect.
The beats, the timing, it was like the editing of Obi-Wan saying Anakin, then they cut really hard to Vader. Oh, it was so good.
Yeah, to him floating in that fucking tank in his eyes. It was the emphasis on his eyes, right? Yeah. It just, oh my God. There it is. There they are. There it is. The goosebumps on my arm have returned.
Arrived.
Yes, the hairs are standing up. But we can get to that.
I was going to say we should have like started off with spoiler alert. We're definitely going to be talking about spoilers.
Well, if people haven't, okay, we'll put it in the text. But yeah, spoiler alert.
By the way, we just gave away the ending of the last episode. You shouldn't be listening to this if you don't want to hear what happened.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Leanne.
Yes, ma'am.
What was your reaction to the beginning with Order 66?
It was, I thought, okay, good way to start. But the fighting, the actual lightsaber fighting was amazing. Mm-hmm. It was amazing. It was overwhelming to see clones. It was overwhelming to see frightened children. But the fucking lightsaber,
it was so good.
It was so good. It was like perfect, you know?
Yeah.
And heartbreaking.
It was like the lightsaber fighting we've been wanting to see, you know? It's like...
Yes, I know. Who was the Jedi?
I don't know, actually. I'm curious.
She did a phenomenal job.
Yeah. It was so good.
It was so good.
The audience, right away, when you see the kids doing the practicing, the audience,
yes,
and me included, went, oh no.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
exactly.
We knew what was coming.
Yeah. Chills, goosebumps. Again, anytime we see any inkling of Order 66, it's like...
Yeah.
Traumatizing. But in a good and bad way, because we know what's coming. We know how awful it is. And at the same time, it's always so great to see.
Yeah. Because we only see certain parts of it in Revenge of the Sith, and it's interesting to get other people's perspective on it.
Yes.
And that moment where the kids start running across the bridge and they kind of zoom out and you see...
Yes, and they zoom out.
I got so emotional right away because it's like...
Yes.
after watching Clone Wars, like the prequels are great, but Clone Wars really pulls you into that life that everyone was living there. And it's really, and like also makes you very attached to the clones. So to be watching,
yes, I know,
watching them turn on Jedi, but also then watching Jedi kill them, it's really hard to watch now.
Yeah, when you know that they fought side by side for so many years and became friends.
Yeah.
And sacrificed for each other, and then it's flipped on its head, and now they're fighting each other. It's really, anytime we get to see it, it really drives it home.
Yeah.
And it was a good place to start, because that's literally where all of this began and ended.
Yeah.
And then we go 10 years later, and I kind of thought from the trailer and then the pictures of Obi-Wan in the blue that he was doing like a mation pedestrian type of job. Like I just, it looked like a uniform, or it looked like, you know, he was in an assembly line of some sort. It brought home kind of the Cadavo arc, where he's witnessed this before. He's been here before.
We're such space twins. I literally wrote that down. The way he had to stay silent, because if he said anything, it would cause more damage.
Yes,
So
and
funny.
he has been there before.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of believed Ewan's acting, because it kind of looked like he'd seen it before, even though it's animation version of... And we know that they watched the Clone Wars prior to this show, him and Hayden. Oh, man, it was just good. It was like, anyone who's watched the Clone Wars and has seen this before hopefully was thinking of that in that moment, because you know Obi-Wan wanted to say something. He wanted to step in. He wanted to defend the innocent, and he couldn't. He has to lay low, and I think that's the toughest thing for Obi-Wan, and it has been tough for him until, you know, our girl Leia steps in, but...
Spoiler alert. Holy shit,
Spoiler alert.
Well, something also that struck me, like a little before that, is the scene with the Inquisitors landing in Anchorhead, right? That's the town they're in. And the music of them getting off the ship and like walking down caught me right away. The music in the show is so good.
Yeah, John Williams nailed it.
Oh, he didn't do he just wrote the theme.
Oh, I know, but I mean, it just John Williams in general nailed, like, setting the stage. I'll say John Williams nailed setting the stage, and then all of the music after did not disappoint. Like, when you set a bar that high with someone that good, don't let the rest of it fall.
They played the theme. John Williams was there, and they played the theme at Celebration. It is so beautiful and sounds so much like Obi-Wan, and it takes like the Jedi theme and kind of like inverts it to make it a little dissonant. And it's like the way Obi-Wan has had to go against what it is to be a Jedi in order to protect the people that he loves now. Yeah. Like, it's so interesting, and it just caught my attention right away.
Well, you're right, though. The music with the Inquisitors, literally the music throughout all of it. Mm-hmm. Did you like the Inquisitors?
Yes. Like, mostly yes. I think that Rupert Friend actually does a really interesting job. I like the way he uses his voice. It's similar to the way Jason Isaacs uses his voice. He's one of those actors who's not afraid to like go up and down in his range and kind of like play with the words. I thought that was really good. And I love Reva. I think she's, oh my God, Moses Ingram is fucking amazing.
She is queen. Let me tell you something. Someone who comes out, an unknown character, that makes you care about them and hate them at the same time is doing it right.
Yeah.
I actually care about her story. I care about learning about her more.
Yeah.
She did it well. First of all, if you're given a good script, it's not hard.
Yeah.
If they have a clear vision and a clear storyline, which I'm positive they do, then it's not hard for the actor or actress to then perform at a level where they can guarantee the outcome is the good one, right? So I'm here to say that this is lining up to be very, very excellent. Like, she is fucking badass. Her lightsaber skills already, like, just the handling of it, the confidence, the swagger she's got, and the impulsivity, which I expect from someone coming up in the ranks who's just trying to impress, you know, the higher ups in the Empire. I totally get it.
Yeah.
It's great.
So I mentioned to you before we started recording that I have just been informed of a new theory. And
let's hear it.
Do you want to hear it now? Okay, so Jedi Master Adam, we had so much fun together at Celebration.
Yes, I'm jealous you got to meet him.
Yeah, he's amazing. He just texted. He was about to get on a plane, and he's like, I'm having feelings. I need to, like, I need to talk to somebody. I'm like, I'm here. Tell me. And he's like, have you looked at the posters of all the individual faces? And I was like, no. So I went and looked at them really quick. And I arrived to the same conclusion he did before he even told me his theory. Everyone is looking at Obi-Wan in these. There's like an eye. You know, they show their face, and then one of their eyes has like a circle in it, and you see who they're looking at. Everyone's looking at Obi-Wan except Reva and Kumail Nanjiani. They're looking at Vader.
Oh.
So it's like they're on Obi-Wan's side, his perspective, looking at Vader. And I don't think Reva's on Obi-Wan's side. Adam's theory is this, and I completely agree with it. Reva was probably one of the younglings in the very beginning of the episode.
Yes, we talked about this, and I do agree.
So she saw Anakin Skywalker come in and kill everybody, which is how she knew Vader and Anakin were the same person. So she's going to use Obi-Wan to draw out Vader so she can kill Vader. And I was like, that makes sense.
I'm into this. That makes... Okay, first of all, Adam, we love our listeners, but goddamn. Okay? Awesome theory, and it works. I'm sitting over here like thinking about it, stewing about it, and that would add a whole different layer.
Because she has no regard at all for the rules.
No, she doesn't.
She's like so single-tracked minded. My thought was like, why is she so focused on Obi-Wan? And people keep accusing her of wanting favor, like having Vader to favor her. What if it's that she's trying to draw him out? Because he has, you know, it's not like he's hanging out with the Inquisitors all day long.
That's true. She would have a motive.
If she saw him killing her whole childhood. Yeah. Like, holy shit. To, like, live your whole life.
I'm sitting here kind of dumbfounded. I mean, I guess we'll see. But that's a logical, clear, and interesting twist if they were to put one in. I'm into it.
She's clearly obsessed with Obi-Wan, so why isn't she looking at Obi-Wan in the poster? Her sights are set on Vader in the poster.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, maybe it'll turn out just because she wants to be his head inquisitor or whatever, but...
Don't you think she would have said something? I was waiting for her to say it, that she wants to impress Vader.
Well, they keep, like, implying that, and she never agrees to it.
But she hasn't said it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she's not...
It's very interesting. I'll be very excited to see how her story unfolds, because there seems to be a lot more to her than what we're just seeing on the surface.
Yes, and that's why I'm saying somebody thought about this, and it's already showing, because we give a shit.
Yes.
We care.
Yeah. They're not flying by the seat of their pants. They definitely have a story here, and they're telling it deliberately. And I love that. Yes. You can see the difference.
I love that. Yes, you can.
Talking to some people earlier already, these are better made than the sequels. They are a tighter story already than the sequels.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. Now, some people have said that the storyline is too simple for them. I don't think that's the case. They don't have to make it any more than what it is currently.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree that the plot line is simple, but it's not stupid. I realized this too, because, like, he finds Leia really quick. And it's because the story's not about him finding Leia. It's, like, misleading. It's not like a rescue story. It's about how doing this now exposes him to the Empire and to Anakin in particular. Because right at the end, when he says Anakin's name and Vader's eyes open, I think it's because Vader feels Obi-Wan in the Force.
Absolutely.
For the first time in 10 years. We're barely scraping the surface of this story in the first 2 episodes, I think.
Isn't it perfect that the minute Obi-Wan finally uses the Force after how long, right? It's to save a Skywalker. I mean, it's poetic. I mean, and not only that, but I think it's the use of Leia is great because Leia names her son Ben. Leia has a rapport with Obi-Wan. She obviously, the first time we ever see Leia in the original trilogy is she's leaning on Obi-Wan for help. She got this trust from somewhere other than Bail.
Yes.
And I think it left a mark on her.
I completely agree with that. You see it in the way that they very deliberately mirrored stuff that happens in A New Hope. Like the way Luke Skywalker, I'm here to rescue you. It's like Obi-Wan comes into the cell and has a similar exchange. I thought it was also so moving that he realizes and, like, reconnects with Anakin while he's standing next to Anakin's daughter. Like, Leia is right there next to Obi-Wan while he's having this connection with Anakin and Vader, and that to me was just a really beautiful symmetry, and it was very moving.
Very beautiful. And his remark to Leia about, you remind me of someone, obviously speaking about Padme, which is it's everything I want when we deal with the Skywalker twins. Okay, first of all, what's her name who plays Leia, the girl? I can't think of her. I can't think of her name off the top of my head. That was a casting nail on the head. Yeah, that girl delivered everything. Carrie Fisher would be proud to this day.
Yes,
if she was alive to see it, to say that girl can play me as my character as a young girl, like the sass, the wit, the strong-willed as a child, still in child form. The way she handled her cousin.
Oh my God, I love that.
Get it, Leia. This is why she is queen. This is the future of the fucking galaxy in this tiny little girl. Yeah. And she did it perfectly.
Yeah, she was so, and like even physically, like watching her run like through the forest and everything really reminded me a lot of Carrie Fisher's physicality as well. And like her costumes were beautiful, like mirrors to later outfits that Leia wears, like the poncho in Empire or Return of the Jedi. And
yes, and the hair, just constant hair nods. I mean, it's so easy to do, right, with hair, because you just tie a bunch of braids and buns to her head. But like, and her friendship and her care about droids, I think is great.
Yeah,
you know, it's just like, it's such a Skywalker thing to care about a droid. You know what I mean?
Well, they care about just being respectful and like nice to everybody. And
let's talk about one thing that we got in these episodes that we wanted when we sat here and said 5 things we want in the Kenobi series. We got some in these episodes. Number 1, Obi-Wan and his dream sequence, nightmares. We got 1 tear from this man in these episodes. We got Alderaan in these episodes. Alderaan is the fucking badass planet I always wanted it to be. Beautiful, gorgeous. The fucking architecture, Bria's fucking gowns, the handmaidens, the people that were helping. It's just, it is the opulence and yet the natural setting, the mixture of the two that I wanted in Alderaan. We got it. We fucking got it.
Yes.
I was so excited to see it.
I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, we're actually going to get Alderaan. And I loved Jimmy Smits in this. I loved Bria and Bale together. I was
together.
Obsessed.
Jimmy. Okay, goosebumps are back. His discussion, his interaction with little Leia out on the balcony.
Yes.
Hurt my heart, gave me tears, made me smile. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's so indicative of that he's a statesman. You know, he's very diplomatic, but he has a deep, loving heart and loves that Leia is spunky and is like Padme.
Yes, and he had a relationship with Padme. They were very close friends, very close advisors to one another. They leaned on each other, and I think he knows, he sees it, and he respects it. Yeah, and he won't forget it. He loves that little girl.
Yeah, and when he tells her, remember when she says, "I'm not even a real Organa," and he's like, "Don't ever say that." He doesn't even ask, like, who told you that? He just says, never say that, because inside is what makes you an Organa. Oh my God. And like the way he was talking about it, like, I had dreams. I had it all planned out. Just his performance was so layered and charming. Like, he was really endearing. And then when he shows up later at Obi-Wan's cave, that scene is so good. And his performance, where he says, there wasn't anything you could do. Anakin's gone. Move on. You need to move on. It was just like the slap Obi-Wan needed. And when he says, old friend, I literally just gave myself goosebumps. It was just like, oh my God, I'm fucking dead.
Right? He needs old friends. Like, you have to remember. And like, so Kumail tells him, you're not alone, Obi-Wan.
I agree that when Kumail's character, who they won't list the character's name.
Oh, so he has no name, because I couldn't remember what his name was.
Well, he says it. It's Paja or Haja. I can't really...
Oh, that's right. He does say it.
I can't really tell, because Obi-Wan says his name back to him, and he said, you remembered my name.
He's remembered my name. Yeah.
Yeah. And that moment to me, it was just so telling of Obi-Wan as a human. You know, it's like,
Right.
that's the kind of goodness he can't hide. Like the
Nope.
immediate respect that he has, not because he respects the person, but because he starts by giving you the benefit of the doubt, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And when you're right, when he says to Obi-Wan, like, you're not alone, Obi-Wan, and Leia says later to him, is it really so hard for you to believe you have friends?
Right.
It's
right.
like these constant
That
reminders.
killed me.
Yes. It's like he needs to be reminded, like, it, because Owen is pushing him away. It's easy to feel like that's how the whole world sees him or galaxy sees him. And it's like he has friends still, and he's forgotten what that means because he's so isolated. Yeah, I loved that moment. I loved all the moments.
I loved how Obi-Wan is literally, first of all, being sassy as fuck to a Jawa. The Jawa's also sassy back, saying he smelled, which, personally, I would put aside just to be in that cave with him. But
yeah, same.
he was doing it to make the toy that we see Luke have that he has in A New Hope. Oh God!
I know.
Ugh.
The Skyhopper toy, like, and clearly he, like, I know Owen gives it back to him, but at some point Luke ends up with it. So.
Oh, he ends up with it. You think
hope
Obi-Wan's gonna take that shit from Owen? Get out of here.
Fuck no. Owen might be a pain in the ass, tough guy, but Obi-Wan survived a lot. I think he's not so easily deterred.
Yeah, everyone's very afraid right now. It's a tense time.
Understandably so. They're all being threatened all the time. I mean, they hung that Jedi. So let's talk about that. The other Jedi that shows up on Tatooine. I felt that was actually pretty weak. How did you feel about it?
What do you mean by weak?
Like, he kind of, like, I get that he shows up there, like, that's not weak, but, like, how he just shows up in the middle of the night and finds Obi-Wan in the middle of the dark desert.
Well, he may have been able to tap in or something, maybe? I don't know.
Obi-Wan's not using the Force anymore. He's, like, closed off.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. I would have listen, I saw it coming, obviously.
Sure.
But, like, I don't know, because in one way, the Jedi are so confused, scared, scattered, looking for like-minded people, relying on an old code that doesn't work anymore, never did, let's put it that way, and are failing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the use of this character was fine. The principle of it, fine. But you're right. The way that, I mean, no one's supposed to know where Obi-Wan is, and he just knew. So I think that part was kind of meh. But he gets hanged anyway, so he's not a problem. It's terrible. But
well, I'm sure it's just like he's so they could show an example of the Empire's brutality, I guess. But also, he says to Obi-Wan, "What happened to you? You used to be a great Jedi." It was just like, bitch, you all lived through Order 66.
Yeah, exactly. You all used to be great Jedi until the fuck, like. Okay, yes, Obi-Wan and Anakin were in the Hollow news a lot more frequently than, Joe Schmo, but, like, at the same time, bro, can you keep your voice down?
Yeah,
like, he was a great Jedi. Can you not come find him in the middle of the night? Like, don't lead people to him, bitch.
Yeah, it's like, if he was a great Jedi, why do you think he would be isolated out here in the middle of fucking nowhere? Also, like, he's like, you have no idea what I suffered. It's like, you have no idea what he suffered.
That's what I wanted to say back. I wanted to be like, oh, you think you have it tough?
Yeah.
This bitch cut off his best friend's legs, arm, watched his wife die, has to raise this kid that isn't his from a distance. Like, you think you have it bad? Listen, they all have it bad.
Exactly.
Kanan Jarrus is somewhere out there as a child running around, has it bad. You know what I mean? It's like, that was a very selfish and weird way of like making your point, bro. It's Obi-Wan. He's got it pretty rough. Look at him.
Yeah. I was like, where's your Jedi compassion? I don't know. I just thought that was, maybe that was deliberate. I'm sure it was like a deliberate choice for writing, but like, that made me really angry.
You could argue that, like, okay, you have this legendary Jedi who made it out of Order 66 chilling in the desert somewhere. You could say, get up and do something, because if anyone's going to be able to fight this, it's you. And Obi-Wan's literally being complacent for a reason.
Right.
I could see him arguing, or any Jedi arguing, like, hey, you're the only one who can, like, you're more powerful than me. You're more notable than me. You have friends still lingering out there in the, like Bail Organa, do something.
Yeah.
But literally, Obi-Wan's doing the very best thing that he possibly can for the role that he's taken on as being Luke's protector.
Right.
You know.
Right, exactly. And he says, you need to go away. You're going to draw too much attention. And he could tell already by the way this guy comes out of nowhere and shows him his lightsaber and everything. It's like he's already proving that he's not wise about how to protect himself and any fellow Jedi. This guy's just like out there showing his skills around and making people suspicious. So he has to push him away. For Luke's sake, he has to push him away.
Yeah. And again, Obi-Wan has to witness someone he interacted with dying that he couldn't help.
Yeah.
And it's just so out of his hands at this point. It's just so out of his hands.
Yeah.
It's a lot for one person.
It is. I don't know how he survives even his own thoughts. But
Master Qui-Gon.
Oh my God. Oh.
That line sent me. And the fact that he keeps communicating quietly with Qui-Gon with no answer, we're going to get an answer. I think Qui-Gon's voice is going to...
Do you think they've made contact already and it's just like not like a really strong connection yet? Or do you think he's still just trying?
That's a great question. I think it's one of those things that like you find comfort in speaking to someone who's dead, even though you hope they're listening, but you really don't know. Because I could see that.
Well, he's also closed himself off from the Force. So how could he make real connection without using the Force? You have to have the Force to...
It's true. Oh, so maybe he just opened up the portal to do it because he used the Force to save Leia.
Well, and the second time he talks to Qui-Gon, or like speaks, if ever I need your guidance now,
yes,
who shows up instantly but a clone trooper at his feet.
This is true.
That moment was crazy. Everyone
true.
In our audience started screaming as soon as they heard Timuro's voice. Oh my God, people were like, is it going to be Cody?
Yeah, right. I said, holy shit, that's a clone. Because I knew it was him, right? Yeah. But like, that's crazy.
The way they looked at each other was...
I know, right? Like,
again, what you were saying, like, Ewan wasn't in Clone Wars, but he was able to portray that, like, that was a 501st soldier, apparently. So it's like...
Oh, God, even worse.
Yeah, so it's like these people fought side by side, and now they're looking at each other, and they can't even recognize each other, first of all.
They can't say anything.
Yeah, it's just like Obi-Wan's facial expression was so heartbreaking, where it's like, look, he knows what these troopers have been through, what they're capable of, and now they're homeless, sitting on a drug-infested street. Like, it's so fucking heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was great to see Tamara.
I know. I wonder if he'll show up. I mean, if Commander
Absolutely,
Cody,
he will. I'm hoping.
Dude, if Cody shows up at this show, I will literally lose my life.
Cody, Rex, any of them.
Oh my God.
I don't care.
He'll fucking die. Straight up dead. So, actually, now that you're saying that, like, so Kumail's character gives Obi-Wan coordinates. It says, go to this place. There are people who can help you. And he says, what people? I wonder who that would be. It could be Rex.
It could. Well, I was still waiting for Cassian to show up.
Oh my God, like, I would love that
I still think there's a huge chance that we could get Cassian Andor to show up because he's entangled with Bail. So
I would be 1,000,000% okay with that. I just watched Rogue One
too.
on the plane here.
Oh, nice.
Diego Luna is so fucking good. I cannot wait for any more Cassian Andor. I will be thrilled.
I know. I'm super excited, and to see him on the Vanity Fair cover and like interacting with the other Star Wars greats, if you will.
Yeah. He deserves it because he's fucking great. Also, speaking of drug-infested street, what is it with people always trying to sell Obi-Wan drugs?
But that's Ewan's daughter, right?
Yeah, it's Esther.
Okay. Well, I thought it was a fun nod to the Death Stick.
Yeah.
However, more useful than the Death Stick, as it turned out. But that's Obi-Wan's quick thinking. You know what I mean? He's never lost any of that, ever.
Yeah.
And he got to beat the living piss out of people. And I was thinking of you the entire time. Like, she's going to be so turned on. She's going to be so epically turned on. You were amongst friends. And you got in a public place. And I'm thinking, she got publicly turned on by all of this.
I kept it myself under control fairly well.
Well, wasn't it great, though? He manhandled those bastards.
Girl, I was every punch he threw was the greatest moment of my life.
Absolutely. Over and over and over again. Like,
seriously, I don't even know. It was like at least 5 to 6 bounty hunters in like a 5-minute period.
Yes.
It
yeah.
was great.
It's like, oh, he's been here before as well. He hasn't forgotten how to deal with this without a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Shit.
Oh my God. The way he manhandles those two in the hallway and then grabs that one by the throat and says, "Where's the girl?" I was just like, fuck, it's so good.
Right.
Even when he goes into the room where it's like a trap where Leia it's a droid head or whatever under a cloak. And they're like, "I never knew a Jedi could bleed." And he says, "Well, everybody bleeds," and throws that drugs on the floor.
And then boom. Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I just loved that so much.
It's so good. It's like perfect. It's just so Obi-Wan. It's just exactly what I was hoping for,
Yeah. It's all of it is very Reiko Hardin, right? Because he can't.
Yes, it is.
He can't be a Jedi. He's not using the Force. This is all just Obi-Wan.
Yeah. This is, we've been here before.
Yes.
Folks.
Yes.
And it's great to see. Oh, I love it. I wanted to mention earlier when we were talking about Obi-Wan's compassion and how, like, he wanted to help someone in the line at the factory with the meat or whatever they're harvesting. How nice was it that he always saved a piece of meat for his little Eopie, his little camel?
That. Yes.
I mean, that is so Obi-Wan as well. He's a lover of all animals, all creatures.
Yes. Shares what little he has.
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved that. I loved the scene with the Jawa right around that same time because I loved when he said to the Jawa, like, "If you're going to steal my parts, could you at least clean them before selling them back to me?"
Yes, I laughed out loud at that because that is a goddamn Obi-Wan Kenobi line right there. And he delivered it so fluidly, like, just like, "If you're going to sell the same parts back to me," it's just like, it's perfect.
It was
Ewan's great.
Like, little lines like that, I think, are the ones that prove, like, what a good actor he is because, like,
yeah,
it could be so easy to be fake sounding in that kind of exchange, and he was so like, I believed him so much in those little moments. Yes. I loved it.
Yeah, I am very pleased with where this is going. Obviously, I want to know more about Reva. I want to see more of Vader. We're gonna get there. Yeah, and I've been very, very, very happy with young Leia. Everything with Alderaan. I'm dying to see more Luke. I'm sure we'll see more, than just that.
It seemed like such a throw off, though, because they only really talked about Luke in, like, the promo material, and then Leia is, like, the focus. And honestly, I think it's true that, like, rescuing Leia would have been the only thing to tempt Obi-Wan away from Tatooine.
Yes.
I thought that was smart writing.
Well, we're going to see more Luke. They're just getting Leia out of the way. And that sounds like a crass way to put it, but I think, like, you have to open up this storyline to make him... It's been 10 years. What's going to get him to move, right? Mm-hmm. The Skywalker twins and his old friend Bail. So it makes perfect sense.
Well, and I thought it was really interesting, too, because... And I was kind of grateful that they did this and said this, because Bail says to Obi-Wan, she's just as important as he is. Like, Leia is just as important as Luke.
Absolutely, she is. And we see why later. She saves the galaxy, twice? Like, her influence, I should say. Her influence plays a part in the outcome of the galaxy surviving.
Yeah.
Along with Luke's part in it.
Yes, they have they're not the same roles, but they're both extremely important roles.
Yeah, they're the balance. They are the balance. There's the political, the smart, the people person, and then there's the adventurer, the Jedi. I mean, of course we know Leia trained, but, like, he's the one putting it into action. So you have, we'll say, someone on the ground, someone up above. Like, Leia's down with the people and Luke is out fighting and blowing things up and using the Force and connecting other people and finding, help. It's a very basic way of saying, what their roles are, but they're both extremely important.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I love seeing how you could see traits of both Bria and Bail. We always talk about Leia and Bail, but getting to see Bria and, like, how she says to Leia, you'll get out of it what you put into it. If all she's
That's
like,
right.
all they ever see me do is wave, and she's like, you like saying you can do more than that. So I just thought that was really important that they're giving the mother equal credit, because obviously we only ever really see Bail in Clone Wars, but you see the influence in older Leia. She's very much a mixture of Bail and Bria. Obviously the clothes and the hair and everything, but like the diplomacy and the spunk and I don't know, just everything about. I fucking love Leia, and they did such a good job.
I know. I love that she is a product of two people who very much loved her and influenced her heavily. She is an Organa. I mean, she's Skywalker by blood. Family isn't always about who you're born to. It's who you choose to be.
Yeah.
You know, and we see that with Rey in the end of, you know, The Rise of Skywalker. But I think we see it with Leia because she obviously takes the influence from Bria and Bail and it forms and shapes the strong individual she becomes.
Yeah.
Yes, she has traits of Anakin and Padme obviously running through her blood. It's her inherent, you know, where she got it, but how it was formed, shaped, and then, you know, ultimately displayed was all the Organa. So, I mean, it's no wonder when you read books like Bloodline, where it heavily focuses on Leia and how she moves through, you know, the New Republic and stuff after the war, that she's so strongly tied to her step-parents, you know. Yeah. She has every right to call herself an Organa, honestly.
Yeah, but yes. It's like what we said about Rey calling herself a Skywalker. It's like, it's more than just, like you said, it's more than just a bloodline. It's a way of carrying yourself.
It's who you choose to be. And the traits that you pick up along the way shape a person. And I think that even just in the small amount of scenes that we got for Bria and Bail, it's just like so perfect.
Yeah, it was really beautiful.
Clearly, it's a clearly written, envisioned thing that came to life. And that's what I appreciate about it the most. Now, if they can hold on to this for the next 4 episodes, and I have all the confidence in the world that they will, we'll be very happy. But I could die tomorrow and I don't want to. But if I did, I'd be very happy with the first 2 episodes of the Kenobi series, I'm telling you.
Seriously, I really enjoy how they're unraveling everything at a slow pace. It doesn't have to be crazy. And it's not like overdone action sequences or anything, because this is a story that's more personal, and it's going to, because the original Star Wars is the same way. Even though there's big action sequences, it's really about the relationships. And so this is going to come back down to Obi-Wan and Anakin's connection, and then the peripherals around that and how it's all influenced. So I'm very excited to see what comes next, which is tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. We are winning as Star Wars fans lately.
We are. Oh my God.
There is so much out there. Just what was announced at Celebration versus what we're getting in the Kenobi series. Like, the future of Star Wars is very bright. And the future is tomorrow with episode 3 of this show. I can't wait. Oh, God.
We're going to have so much to talk about in our support group. Oh, my God.
Oh, yes. Yes. If you need help or want to talk to somebody, we're here for you at Most Things Kenobi. Sign up. Send us an email, a chat. Find us on the socials. Go to our website. Give us your email address if you'd like to join us in any of our group therapy chats that we'll be having throughout the show's running 6 weeks, right? So
yes, our first one is soon. It's June 5th at 5 p.m. Central Time. We're going to hop on Zoom. We'll try and monitor, the conversation so that everybody who wants to gets a chance to talk. Granted, we have already 40 or 50 people who are going to be participating.
It's amazing.
It's crazy. It's amazing. I think our cutoff is going to be 100 people. That's where Zoom cuts us off. But
Zoom also cuts us off at an hour. But don't worry, we'll be having more, especially for our international friends. We'll have different times. Mm-hmm. To try and cater to everybody and all of their needs, because listen, I need to talk about things, and if we get Vader tomorrow, I'm going to need to talk even more. So, and feel free, if you want to join our group therapy, our support group chat, you don't even have to talk. You could just sit there and listen. You don't have to have your camera on. Don't feel pressured to do anything you don't want to. This is a group therapy session. Make it what you want.
Yes.
As Bria said, you'll get out of it what you put into it. And if you don't want to put anything into it and you just want to listen, we invite that as well.
Yes, exactly. And it's nice because I think Zoom allows you to be a little more private. You can change your username. It doesn't have to like say your exact name. So if you want to join, find us on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr. I've had a few people message me on Tumblr. You can email us at mostthingskenobi@gmail.com. Let us know you're interested. You could also contact us on Patreon. We're also on Patreon. Let us know you're interested in joining in a private message and send us the email address you would like us to send the invitation link. We're never going to like use that email for anything else. It's totally private.
Never.
We'll just email you the link the day of the group therapy session, and we will all put our feelings out there together.
We will. And it should be fun because holy shit, we have a lot to talk about. We'll have 3 episodes to gush over. So
I feel kind of bummed that we had to cram episode 1 and 2 into one of our episodes because I feel like there's even more we could talk about. But
we can, but we'll take notes. We'll review. We'll talk about things next week in next week's episode for covering episode 3. Yeah. And hey, in our support group, we may get theories and ideas and points that we didn't even notice.
Yeah, and
we can talk about it all. So this is an ever-morphing, evolving thing. And these are just our initial thoughts. And holy shit, I'm pleased. Are you pleased?
Oh, I'm so pleased. This is everything I could have hoped for. Honestly, like you said, if this is all we get, I would be very happy. I loved what they put out already.
Our question for you this week is very simple. If you had to pick one favorite moment from both episodes, what is your favorite moment from episode 1 and 2 of the Kenobi series?
We know it's a tall order, but we believe in you. You could do it.
Yes, you can do this. We would love to know.
Next week, join us back. We're going to talk about episode 3, which
I can't wait.
It comes out like a few hours from now, so we are cramming so much Kenobi into these days. It's crazy, but I'm not complaining one little bit. So
not at all. We are blessed.
Okay, last week on the podcast, which I know is very difficult to remember now that we've already had episode 1 and 2 of Kenobi and all of Celebration happening. There's just been a crazy amount of information that's come out over the last week. So I don't blame you for maybe not remembering what happened in our last episode. But we did a recap of our top 5 badass Obi-Wan moments. And we got a lot of responses, long responses, passionate responses from our listeners. And you guys just blew me away. So I'm going to read a few of those, just snippets of those for you right now. Breath in My Blood on Instagram said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but for my badass Kenobi moments, I think the one that often comes to mind first is right after his fight with Vizsla, where he grabs Satine and jumps how many feet down the elevator shaft before it blows up. Like in real life, neither of them should have survived that kind of fall. But just the sheer spontaneity and instant rapport they have after all those years, he makes sure to protect her and have that perfect landing. I love that moment. I have thoughts about that moment. And Clone Wars Collector on Instagram said, Obi-Wan versus Maul on Tatooine. I know a lot of people are annoyed at how that duel ended, but I find it so badass because it was that short. A little of that was definitely fueled by emotion, and no one can tell me otherwise. That is a great moment that we didn't even touch on, but Leanne and I both agree that that final duel, the Twin Sons duel, is actually pretty pristine, and we could do a whole episode on that, and maybe we will. These lists go on, and now that the Kenobi series has started, we have even more badass moments, which Leanne and I promise to recap or count down or outline for you at some point in the future. Good Lord, were we blessed with wonderful Kenobi content this past week, and in just a few hours, we're gonna get some more.
Thank you, as always, for joining us here on the Most Things Kenobi podcast. If you would like to support us, you can actually do so on Patreon now. And as always, you can follow us on our social media accounts on Tumblr, Twitter, and Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast player. If you enjoy our podcast, we would love it if you would rate us on Spotify and or Apple. And if you need just one place to find all of these things, head over to mostthingskenobi.com.
So until next time, my space twin, may the Force be with you.
Always.